We're just going to have a look at some of the reasons why you might want to consider buying the RegistrationMagic Premium plugin. It offers a host of features, and it's not just a registration plugin, but it also has a host of features in terms of feedback forms. So you can use it for the standard feedback form and for registrations. And then there are a host of features that go with that. So just to give an idea of what a form looks like, here on the site here, we've just created a form, we've inserted a title, we've inserted a video into the form using a field within the form. We added a class here to the this double column section here, and you can create these double column layouts wherever you want with whatever fields you want. So we just did that for first and last name. And then, of course, you have the option to change the colors. You can change the focus color of fields. You can even see here that based on the keyword that you want to insert, it even tells you or gives you a guide as to what that password would look like. So even those pop-ups are already created for you. So a very nice, it's a great look, a great feel, and of course you can customize the various elements by adding custom classes or by using the design feature within the plugin. So to give you an idea of what you have available to you, uh, essentially here, these would, after installing, you're then given, these three individual components. So you've got the login form, the registration form, and then a simple contact form. Now, just to show you what makes RegistrationMagic different is that as a registration plugin, you also have a host of other features available to you. And you can see that there are a substantial number of features. So this is not just a registration, it's a registration and a registration management plugin. So maybe the easiest way to have a look at this then quickly is just to see the basic structure around the various form types. So if we click here on the little navigation buttons, you'll see you've got build, configure, integrate, publish, submissions, manage, analyze, and automate. And the same options are then available for a simple contact form, except that the entries are not going to create a user. They'll just be used as feedback forms. So the two forms work in a very similar way. What's different though is this login. So every one of these forms will have a field section and a dashboard section. So if you go into your field section, as the name implies, this is where you can create your fields. And you'll see here, this is where we inserted the video. This is where we added a custom class that we used on the field. So this we converted to 2 columns. So for example, if I wanted to maybe what I'm going to do now is just move some things around on my form. So I can just move that up. I don't need that divider anymore. I can then just delete. And if I want to duplicate a field or divider, it's very easy. I can just hit the duplicate button there. That'll duplicate the row. If I want to duplicate or let's say not duplicate, if I want to edit an individual field, I can just edit the field there. So you have settings for the field and then you have settings for the row. Now the row settings are what we'll use here to make a 2-column layout, and it's really very easy. So if I head over here to the mobile number, I'm going to click on the row settings, and I'm simply just going to click the kind of row that I want. In this case, it'll be 2 columns. If I want to add a class, I can add a custom layout to col. If I wanted to do something like that, you can also adjust the gutter, margin, bottom, maximum width. So you've got some other settings there, even add a heading or a subheading. So there you can see immediately I have my 2-column layout, and if I want to pop the email in there, it's really as simple as dragging across. Now the email's been added. There's no need to save. It's saved in real time, and refresh the page, and there you have your phone and email, and with a little bit of CSS adjustment, you can get them lined up perfectly. But that's really how easy it is. Now, the reason this one pops down a bit is because of the required field icon in the top right hand corner there. So if we were to go to phone, and I'll just show you how you can edit a field. So I click on phone, I'm going to go to the options here, the field settings, and you'll see here are the labels. So there's the label, the format, so local, a custom format, specific countries, if you wanted to do it for specific countries or to make it international. You have these options for the number format. If it's invalid, what is the error message? And then we start getting into some of the other options. So here we now have the icon settings. So if you wanted to add an icon here, very easy. You could then add an icon to your field. So every field in your form could have an icon. And then we have some advanced settings. So in the advanced settings is where you can tick it as a required field. Once again, you can add a class, you can set a maximum length, accept only unique values. So this would check and make sure the number's not already in the database. And we can even add the field to the WordPress user role. So that's also great. You can choose to display this in the front-end user area and also allow users to edit this field after submission. So we'd probably say yes to those two. Now, when we say here, add to WordPress user profile, we can either associate with an existing meta key, and that would just be a custom field in the database. And if we look through here, you'll see there's no number for telephone number. There's no field. So we'll just define a new meta key and we'll call this telephone, or let's just say contact underscore number. So that's all we need to do. And now that we're done, we can save. And now that has been added to the database. So now that's a field associated with the user in the database. Nothing else that we need to do there. And here, of course, now we move that row and we move. So now we don't need this row anymore or that field. So we can just delete the row. And because everything's updated in real time, we can just refresh the page now. And you'll see that phone is now required and the fields line up. So that's how easy it is to create. In terms of the password and those kind of registration fields, well, those are taken care of here. So we have the username and the password. We don't have to. We could maybe not use the username field and just go with the password. And if we look at the settings for password, obviously the more secure, the better. We have the standard options here, and then we have the hover text, and that's the quick view text that appears. Once again, we can add an icon, and also we can have a look at changing some of the advanced options. So once again here, for example, we can add a class. Here we check the error message if the passwords don't match. Display the password strength meter, obviously something that you want. And then we have short, weak, medium, and strong. So a lot of built-in security around the password that you don't need to worry about. Yeah, so that's pretty much the settings that are available. Just quickly then, when you're looking at icons, if you click on change, you don't have to go looking very far for an icon. You can just simply come along in here and you can choose whatever icon you want. We'll save, head over to the website and refresh. Right, and there you see the little icon has already been applied. It does then change the alignment a little bit, so but hardly noticeable, and you can do that with a small CSS fix. You can rectify that, but yeah, on the whole, you can create good looking forms quite easily. This is some custom styling that I applied after applying a custom class, so quite easy to then style the row. You can even style individual fields. So what's also very nice here is that you can add fields that you can't normally add with others. So what's nice here with these well, you have these common fields. So you've got the text, the drop down, the radio, the text area, the checkbox, and that's great. Then you have some special fields like date, time zone, map, birth date, so number, country, phone number, mobile number. So a whole lot of interesting fields there. You have the profile fields, which are linked to your the default profile within WordPress, first name, last name, the standard stuff. Then because we have WooCommerce loaded, there's some WooCommerce fields that you can add as well. Social fields, and then the display fields. So the display fields are all those things that you might want to add that users don't have to fill in. So we added a YouTube video, you could add a map, a paragraph, a link. If it was linked to price, you might put in the total price, a registration feed, form data chart, form metadata. So, there's so many things that you can add that you just can't do with other registration plugins. So, and of course, then once you're happy, it's live, it's saved, you don't have to do anything else. If we have a look now, you have this preview window here that'll show you a quick preview. It's not in context because it's not in the page, but you get an idea if you're on the right track. And then we have this design option here for some of the it doesn't show you your form and designing your form, but here you can set a couple of options with options related to the fields and the entry boxes, and then there's another option here for everything else. So the border around the form, the background color of the form, a couple of things like that. So yeah, it's a good design, easy to set up, a lot of choice when it comes to fields. So just from that perspective, it's fantastic. The next thing that we need to look at then is the dashboard, because this is really where you're going to be faced with a lot of choices and options when it comes to setting up your form. So remember that when there are form submissions, you can set up automated replies, but you can also even bulk email all the users. So it's also a bit of a bulk mailing tool as well. Now, if we have a look at what we have here, you've got the general settings for your forms, you've got the account. So this is quite important when people sign up. And with each form now, you can assign the default WordPress user role. So in this case, you would automatically assign to a role. But if you want to give users a choice of roles, just clicking here, you can now select which role. So if you're going to allow users a choice of roles, they can now choose if they want to, are they an editor? Are they a contributor? Are they a customer? Are they a web designer? There's a custom user role. And we can then force the login after registration or email or we can even set use the email as username. And that's generally the best because then there's no issues with unique usernames. So once we've done that, we'll save. Now we'll go and have a look at the form. Now that we've said user role label is required, so let's just have a look here. So we'll just say select your choice, save. Right, so now when you have a look at your form, now you won't see the user roles because you're already logged in and you have a user role. So if we have a look at a logged out user, then you will see here that the select your choice is actually above the form. So when it comes to selecting a user role, it's not a field in the form. And here then the user would come along and simply they'd have a choice of only editing one. And if you wanted to style that a bit more, you could then just using the inspect element, then style that area. So that's not a field that you would enter anywhere else. You can only do that in this way. So if you do it and it only appears at the top of the form, it can't be integrated into the other areas of the form. So that's just one of the little quirks that you have to live with. It would be nice if this information could be included maybe towards the bottom of the form and not before. But that's just one of those settings that you can't change or isn't available for change at the moment. Right. So let's just go back here then. there we're looking at the accounts. Then post submissions is what happens when a form is submitted. And there are a whole lot of things that can happen here. So when it is submitted, maybe you want to do some redirection. So after submitting, send them to a page. Simply select a page on the website and they'll be redirected there. Or you could redirect to a URL and they would be redirected to a URL. So there are a couple of things that can be added. Another option here, as you'll see, you've got this display unique token number. So each ID, you'll see a unique token ID, unique number is assigned to the submission and also emailed to the user if auto reply is on. So this is just a unique reference to the submission that they've made. And we can also send the data to an external URL, and you'll see that that is done using the HTTP post protocol. And just by clicking on that, put in the URL, and then the information will be sent. So you can even integrate then with other services. So so that's what's great then. And that's not all. We then still have the autoresponder. So we can auto reply to the user. So that could be thank you for registering. And what's also nice here now is that when you create your email response, we do have this add fields, and you can simply then say, hello, first name, thank you for registering, and craft your own message there and using the short code. So if I add a field website, you'll see it adds in that field automatically, and it'll pick that up off the form. So that's what's nice here about doing the response. Very quick, keep it nice, short and sweet. So that's been done. You can set up some limits, limit the number of submissions if you have a call to do that. And then you can set the limitations by date, by submissions, by both, or by some custom status. So it's really up to you there. A couple of things then linked to that. But so you could have a limited registration. So after 10 people, that's it. We also then have access control. So here you might want to do something around age. So if a person isn't old enough, so useful for setting age-based restrictions, that is the enable date-based. So you can create your setting by age limit or by absolute date. So you have that, and you can bracket it, say lower limit, so people between ages. So you can do quite a bit there with the age. And then there's also a passphrase, so only people with a password can actually access the website. User role based, so only people with a specific role, and these roles are automatically pulled in from WordPress, so custom as well as standard roles. Domain based form access control, so that's if the users have a specified email domain, then they'll be able to access. And then we also have an access denied note that you can add. So yeah, you can do quite a bit there then with the access control. Then we have the email templates. So you want to make things look nice or interesting. So we have the new user registration template, the new user email body, so mail merge and HTML support. So you'll see it'll pull in the various shortcodes or bits of information associated with that user. The user verification email, so if people have to verify their account, there's also a verification email. You can set that up here as well. And here you'll see it integrates with the verification link and the email verification code. So that's already done for you. All you need to then do is look at the information that you'd like to add to that form. This, of course, wouldn't fire if verification wasn't part of the registration process. You also have the user activation account. So activation, it would happen, say they need to verify a link. They click on the link. They now get a mail to say, thank you, your account is now active. And this is the email that would go through to them. So if you want to, you could even add a link in here then to the login page. And then we also even have templates for admin. So when something happens, it's great to notify the user, but here we have some mails that you can set up to notify the admin person, the person in charge, as to what submissions have been made. Now, what you can also do here, which is quite nice and is not available with other form systems here, is that you can also attach the submission history. So this could include all the forms that the person, or a reference to the history of all the forms that they've submitted in the past as well. So you get a whole lot more than just the form submission as the admin person. So for example, here you'll get the user data. If there's easy digital downloads, customer data and history gets attached. Attaches the WooCommerce customer data and history. So without having to go and look up who this person is, you can immediately see their pedigree in terms of their contribution to your business. So this would apply now also if you had a simple contact form on the website and somebody sends in an inquiry, you'll be able to tell from that who they are, and a bit of the history of the interaction that they've had with you in the past. So it's great. You see their form submissions, their purchase history, easy digital downloads. So that is a really useful thing. So when you reply to that person, you can create an appropriate reply based on who they are, a new user or somebody who's had a lot of contact with you in the past. So that's really cool. So that was on the email templates. And then we've got the global overrides. Now, we're just looking at the settings specific to a form. We haven't even got to the global settings. Now, to give you a small idea of what's available in the global settings, here you'll see, now this is a global setting and now we want to override it. So here you can set up an override for the notification. So if you want to send this field notification, this form notification to individual people, say you have a service, if this was just a contact form for servicing, you could identify the service representative. If people are registering on the site and it's for a specific user role, say editors, you could also send a copy to the head of editors, so they would know that that registration has been applied. So globally, it would go to, say, person A. Here you can override that and start sending the registrations to different people within your organization. So great, it's all done for you, and it's as simple here as then selecting and putting in their details. You can show the form limits about the form. So if you've got a limited subscription, only 50 people, you can have a message then, okay, so 2 to go, 3 to go, 5 to go. Creates a bit of urgency around registration. Then we also have an option for the WordPress registration auto approval. So basically, not a manual activation. So globally, you can set the standard. So if the standard was, say, they need to activate their account via an email and then they get access. Here you could say, no, for this particular registration, there's no activation. They just register and they're in. So that's a nice override to have. You can also enable the reCAPTCHA or not. And the form, you can even set the form submissions per device, if that's something that you'd want to have a look at. So yeah, a lot of nice built-in features here when it comes to kind of personalizing how that form or that registration process is going to be handled. You can then also integrate with some of these other services. Now, for example, here, Profile Grid is another plugin by Metagas where you can build online communities and groups. I'm not going to go into that, just to say that you can integrate directly, Aweber, Dropbox, MailPoet, Newsletter. So those are some of the other mailing systems that you can integrate with. But the other one that's quite important then is there is a WooCommerce integration. So, and you'll see that this is a global setting, and we'll get to the global settings, but you can configure the WooCommerce integration, or maybe we'll have a look at that now because it's quite important. And here you can select what form. So once you've selected this, this form will appear on the default WooCommerce registration page. So this will take care of your WooCommerce registrations and pull them into the RegistrationMagic system. So that's quite nice. Nothing else for you to do. If the guest checkout is enabled in WooCommerce, disable it to display the RegistrationMagic form for registration during checkout. So just a little tip there, but yes, it does integrate. And then you'll see here that we have this show cart with magic pop-up, and we'll have a look at that now because that's another little feature that you have where registration has what they call this magic pop-up. And to that pop-up, then it appears in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and you can add different things to it. So we'll come back to that now. And then also with the WooCommerce registration, you can enable role assignment. So that's enabled to assign custom role defined inside the form dashboard. So if you go back to the form dashboard and we have a custom role defined, this is where you can assign that. Otherwise, it'll go to the default WooCommerce role. So if you don't want it to go to the WooCommerce default role and you want to create a special role like special customer, this is where you can do that. Or they're signing up for some kind of loyalty program. This is where you can have separate this then for them to sign up and go to that program. So we'll just cancel that. Right, so you'll also see now that we've been sent back to the global settings. Before we get to those, I'm just going to go back here and look at the last kind of thing that we need to look at. So this was looking at the WooCommerce integration, and that's not all. Now we have the publishing option, so you can use a shortcode. So, that's pretty much the standard shortcode. You can copy it from there, or in the top right-hand corner, you can also just copy the form. Sure. Then you've also got some HTML code. So where this is great is you can put this registration form anywhere and on any website. So your registrations here don't even have to be on your own website. They could also be on other third-party websites and it would come through. There's a form widget, and that works, in the WordPress widget section. You can also create then a user directory. So anybody who submitted a specific form, you can then publish. You can see there's also an integration here of the time range. So just by putting in the shortcode, then it would show you everybody who has registered. Might be nice from a management perspective to be able to log in and see who those people are. You then also have a user area. So this is great for the logged in users where they can see their information, edit their stuff, do whatever they want to do. Even look at, you can integrate that with their WooCommerce stuff as well. So you have the user area, you have user area tabs. So this is the user area tabs. The payments here refers to paying for a membership on the site. This is the magic pop-up that we spoke about, and the magic pop-up displays on the right-hand side, and here you can determine what appears in that magic pop-up. So it's more like a quick reference button, and just by clicking on there you can give users access to information. So it could be support, terms and conditions, shop. You can pretty much put whatever you want in there. There is an option here to create a landing page for the form. If you wanted to, you could also install this add-on. It's separate, included in premium, and you can then create a custom form. But I think there are some better designers out there when plugins for designing layouts. This is the login box. So you can display a login box on any page, post, or widget used on the website. So you can have that, say, in the footer of your website, and it's just really a case of copying that. So that will be the RegistrationMagic login, as opposed to maybe WooCommerce or one of the others. And there's even an option here for a one-time PIN. And you'll just see there's a note here that it works through the login widget. And that can be turned on once again by going to global settings to the magic pop-up button. Okay, so we're going to go and have a look at that magic pop-up. It comes up quite a bit now. And then you have things like the inbox, attachments, and outbox. And if you just check here under RegistrationMagic, that comes down to managing the user role. So to give you an idea then, if I head over to the inbox, there's nothing to see. But here we have, for example, the submissions that we received, and you'll see there's the inbox. Okay, so that's the inbox. If there are attachments, that's if you'd allowed attachments to come in, you can have a look at them here. And then also in the outbox, so what has gone out. So sent emails. So you can also have a look at the sent emails. So quite a bit then just in terms of the management. And then we come to the form analytics. Now, any field on the form can be analyzed. And here would be, for example, here we have the visitors IP. If we scroll down, we'll see, right, how many visits have we had, conversions to submissions, the browsers used, okay, the success or failure rate, the filling in time for the form, and then some browser information. So immediately here, you're going to get some feedback on how successful or unsuccessful your form is. And here you can select which form to use. So this is now insufficient data because it hasn't been used, and the login form also hasn't been used. So nothing to see there. So you can get some overview now of what's going on, and just by clicking on there, we can go back to global settings. So that's in the form analytics. So also great. And there's a bit more to go now. Now we haven't even hit the right-hand side of the form. So once you start getting submissions, you'll see that you'll have some stats appearing on the page. If you've allowed attachments, you'll see that. So maybe what I'm going to do is just register quickly using the form. So here we are, and I'm going to register as a customer. Good job. Phone number 0123456789. Email. Let's just go any at whatever that is. My website, and then a password here. Let's do right, and you'll see that it's a strong password. Right, so that's done. Is that saying it doesn't match? Right, doesn't say. So let's create an account. So now you'll see it has an invalid format. And here we might want to do an area code or country code. So we might want something like that. Or if we close off, you'll see that's the format required. So I should have just followed my own rules. 012 345 6789. That should be right. And the valid URL must include the HTTPS. So that is something that you might want to add in the instructions or preset text. Always nice to have it permanently visible. So while I'm conforming, I don't have to delete to to see the message again. But right, then we create the account. So we've created the account, and it sends off an email. So let's see that email. And it's even showing the password in the email. So you can set whether to have that or not. But thank you for registering with us. Once your account is active, we'll send you an email with the details. So, right, that has been successfully completed. And now what I'm going to do is go back to my form. I'm on my form, and if I refresh now, you'll see that immediately I can see I've had that many visits, and we've had one form submission. So already I'm getting some stats coming through. And now also, if I want to see all the people who have submitted, so there I can see who submitted. I can select on the view all, and then I can see the all the people that have submitted. And of course now I can determine what happens to those people. So if I select here, I can mark as read, mark as unread, mark payment complete, export all. So I can manage a couple of things here, and I can also click on view, and I can just view the information. I can even go as far then as to edit the submission, and here is the front end form then to edit that submission. So not something that you would do. So that's what we have in the inbox. And just if we scroll down here, you can see we have this user manager. Now it's waiting for me to approve them. So on the user manager, here we have good job, and now I can activate or deactivate that account. So in this case, I'll just click on activate, and that account has been activated, sends out a mail. Thank you for registering with Hooks and Stuff. Your account is now active. So that's the mail that went out to the customer. And I haven't really done anything to edit any of that, and everything is working as it should. So I'm just going to go back here to the forms again and go back to the dashboard. So we're still on the dashboard. Right, so that's what happens when somebody registers. Then on the right-hand side here, you can set, you can copy it, you can set the visibility. Content page is 1, fields, there are 9 fields. Create account is the label. I can quite easily change that right here. I don't have to open the form. Here are some stats. So 1, no attachments, conversion rate, and the average time to fill out the form. So that's great. And then here we can set up some other things like, for example, autoresponders. Now you can see that the registrations have taken care of that with some auto-responses. So these are some other autoresponders then. It's a WordPress registration. We haven't got it on auto approval. We haven't set limitations. We didn't issue a token number, and we haven't integrated reCAPTCHA. So quite quickly here, you can set up some conditions, some settings for the form. Now, right, so that was the basics of this, and this is just one form on the website. So you're starting to get an idea of, just what's possible. Just to show you one more thing when it comes to designing the form, you'll see that there's a reference here to page 1. So you can add a second page. So if you want to create you want to split a form multi-pages, maybe you do information and then something else on the next one. It's as easy as add page, and you can now add a second page. Now let's just see if we maybe want to drag this information across. Would it be possible? No, not possible to drag information from one form to the other, which is a pity. We can duplicate the row, we can't copy. So it would be a case of then recreating the field on the second page. And if you want to make this a one-way trip, then you can hide the previous button, so people can only go from forward in the process. So you can add multi-page forms as well, and then you can edit the page, give it a name, and then everything else will work the same on the page in terms of fields and things. So that's how you can create a multi-page form, and because everything happens in real time, the page is added as you create it. So yeah, I'm not going to go into that, but you can create multi-page forms. So let's now head back to RegistrationMagic, and maybe what we should do is just have a look at this login form, because it's not just a login form. It also has its own dashboard, so you can see how many people have logged in. In terms of the fields, it's really just the username and password, which would be standard. I'm not sure that there would be anything else there that you would want to add. And then, of course, you can configure it. So you can configure the redirections. So after logging in, where do you want to send them? Cart, checkout, all those different things. Redirect admin users to the dashboard. Everybody else goes to the front end. After the logout, where do you want to redirect the user? So that's really great. That's done for you. Validation and security. So this is really just checking that you are in fact registered. If somebody wants to recover their password, here you can display the password recovery link with the error message. Notify users about failed login attempts if you want to do that, which is quite good for security. Notify admin if you want to. Display the reCAPTCHA after a failed login attempt. So 3 attempts, then the reCAPTCHA. Good to identify bots. And if you want to, you can even block specific IP addresses. So the security has been taken care of with the login form. So that's done for you. Password recovery. Here you have your password recovery, the password recovery page. So probably maybe on the login page or the card page. Yeah, you can check. It just says here to then select the page which has the password recovery shortcode pasted inside it. And users will be taken to this page when they click the password recovery link. A default page with a shortcode is automatically created and assigned here. So even if you don't, this is the page that was automatically created and assigned, but you can make it any page. Your email field label, reset password, information about the process if they couldn't find it, new password label, confirm password, button label, if there's a match error, success message, invalid reset, link error, wow, token submit button label, invalid security token error, password reset link expiry, link expiry error, and then redirect default WordPress link. So there is a lot here when it comes to what happens with password recovery. So that's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about that. If you want, you can even activate the two-factor authentication. So that requires a one-time PIN. So that if social login is turned on and a user logs in using his or her social network account, it will bypass this process. But if it's not, you can set up the two-factor authentication, and here are the settings then to set that up, regenerate. I mean, this alone is quite incredible in that the one-time PIN and the error and everything associated with that has been set up. So you can create a very secure website for login. And then, of course, we have the email templates. So failed login attempt, one-time password, password reset, and all of these now are already created. You can go with the standard emails without a problem, and then emails to the admin as well. So that's the user emails and the admin emails, and we're still not done. That's just the configuration. Then we have publishing. So we have the login box, which is quite easy, just copy and paste. We have a login button, so display the login button anywhere on your site. Here we have the login button, and it also then shows logout. So it's like a login, logout automated button. Okay, and so publish login, logout button anywhere on your site, anywhere. You don't have to do any code, it's done for you. And I'm not going to go to the widgets now. That will take you to the WordPress widgets, but you can add that login, logout widget anywhere. The one-time PIN we did have a look at in terms of publishing, so I won't go into that again. And then the magic pop-up we've looked at before. You can integrate with Facebook, Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, enable Facebook login. Okay, no SSL detected on my local server, but if it was, be as simple as ticking the box and filling in the settings. And the same then applies for Instagram, Google, and LinkedIn. And then, of course, we have to have our analytics, and we'll get the analytics, and there's even a user login timeline. So you can check the individual user's login timeline by visiting the users page inside the user manager. So you can see how often those people have logged in. And if we go to the user manager, this is the user manager. There'll be no logins at the moment because, of course, I haven't logged in. And here would be the information. So the form, if there was a payment recorded, if mails were submitted, and here any purchases were made. So quite a lot of information then available just from a particular user's history, and you can do it all from here. You don't have to go into the WordPress user profile or go into your WooCommerce setup. This is a very nice summary then of purchases by user. And that's accessible here from in terms of the stats. So, and that opens in a separate tab. So you still have your normal access here. Then on the right, just how many logins, copy the short code, how many fields on the page, and then you can download the records. You don't need to download at the moment, and then also the success rate. So how easy are people finding it to register on your website? So yeah, tons of information as far as that goes. And the last thing on that registration magic page was the simple contact form. That works very similar to the registration form. The only difference is that you've said or selected that it's not for registration. So here you'll see we've disabled the WordPress user account creation. Once again, you can have all the same features that we had on the registration are available here. What happens, autoresponders, limits, access control, templates, integration. So all of that can now be done from a simple contact form as well, even analytics on the field. So all of that is available, even a bulk email to everybody who submitted anything from that form. So once again, a comprehensive offering. Right, if I go back to Registration Magic, you will then see we have a host of tabs available to us. So we've looked at form analytics, some field analytics. You can create automations. That's something that we haven't had a look at. But you'll remember that there's a lot of reference back to this global settings page. So we're just going to have a look at that first. So some of these settings you'll recognize from the forms. But for example, the form style, match my theme, left on top or two columns. So generally like the label on the top. Allowed file types, that's for attachments. You can set that here. Add any custom text here that will be prefixed to the uploaded file name. So that'll just help to make it easier to find. A maximum file size error message, upload multiple files, hide the WordPress toolbar. So maybe that's what you want to do for somebody that's not an admin. Enable the toolbar for admins. You can just click that there. So very easy to set that up. Show form limits about the form, logo on submission. So you can brand submissions PDFs with your business logo. So submissions that are submitted can be converted to PDF files, and you can put the logo on top of that, the logo text, submission badge count on the form card, so you can see how many submissions have been received, and you could set that to say only today, all week, all month, up to you. Show the asterisk for required fields. That's always a good idea so people can see what they have to fill in. And then the submissions PDF font, and you have a choice there of 4. So that's if you want to save the submissions, the registrations then as a PDF. Now here we have this magic pop-up button that's come up quite often. So let's turn that on. We'll turn on the magic pop-up system, and then here you can select an icon, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to go with what's standard. So you can show the registration, the payment tab, my details pad, and then you can also customize your own links to appear if it's a page. Let's just have a page called shop, and it's visible to everyone, and some other custom links. So we'll save that. So now we've activated the magic button. Let's see how that works. We're just refreshing, and immediately here you'll see the magic pop-up, and if you click on that, you'll see that I can quickly go to registrations, payments, personal details. There's a cart and the shop, which is the custom page that I did, and then I can also log off. And then here on the left hand side you'll see that there is a styler now, is only available to you as the site admin. So you've got the magic panel styler. Don't know, I quite like the blue, the fact, nothing that I want to change here. Change it to dark, switch. Anyway, so that's just to do with this, but what's nice here is that you can have a quick link to these items. So if I go to the shop and I'm going to add something to my basket, so I've added it to my basket. When I click here now, it immediately shows one item in cart, and we get the slide out and we can go to the cart or view the checkout. So you might have something else on your website, but this is already integrated into the plugin to use with view cart, and it has the mini cart from WooCommerce set in there. So yes, you can remove an item from your cart as well, or you can go and view the checkout. So that's a little added bonus, and of course then you can link it to some other things as well. So there's my username and the standard link. So no registrations for me as the admin. If I was, it would show that, and payment. So yeah, fantastic. A nice little bonus that you have when you're using RegistrationMagic. So that's the magic pop-up button, and that alone is already quite useful. Just some other things when it comes to that magic pop-up button. Yeah, the custom links we had a look at, or we can turn it on. Right, so that's great. We've got our magic pop-up, super. From a security point of view, of course, you might have a reCAPTCHA system that you'd like to enable. Just hit the tick box, and what version, 2 or version 3, very easy to install. You can set the form limits, enable password rules, and this is where you can set how difficult. So you've all seen it, uppercase, number, special character, the minimum length, even a maximum length. So this is where you set all those rules to make sure you have a secure password. You can ban IP addresses, ban email addresses, and then also blacklisted or reserved username. So those are some nice security features when it comes to user accounts. And this is where you would send the, activate automatically, deactivate for manual approval. At the moment, you saw we did a manual approval. Then you also have this automation where you do an activation email. And here you would have to set the activation link expiry. Now, some of these are already set on the form, and some you can also then set here. So generally, you can just have a look on the form and you'll see those verification emails, or you can set them here in the global setting or at form level, and then send username and password to the user through email. That could be a little bit dangerous from a security perspective, as you saw when we registered, but here is a way to deactivate that. So you can come in here to set that up. Then we have the email configuration. So notify the user submission note. So that's just good to let the user know about their submissions. And then you can also then notify admin. So who's the admin? Notify them. And you can even attach the submission as a PDF with the email. So maybe for record keeping. And then the outgoing emails handler, you can use an external SMTP port. So you can see all the right credentials that you need to insert, or you can go with the WordPress default. And then submission notification, the sender's name and the sender's email. So that's just the website title, and then the submission notification for admin. All right, so quite a bit there as well. So you can see that you can really go into detail when setting up your website. Then we have the external integrations. And here just, MailChimp, Aweber, Google Maps API key, and Dropbox integration. And that's about it in terms of integrations. Then we have payments. So if people are going to purchase their membership from you, then, which of these would you like to have available? So select all the payment systems for accepting payment. You can do that here from one of these 5. So if SSL encryption is not available on the server, you cannot use Stripe and authorize.net. Then you can set your currency, and you will see here that it's for most of the top currencies, and then the currency symbol position. So that's done. Payments are done. Default pages. So here you can map your registration. So the default registration page at the moment is cart, but I actually want to make it my account. And the default user account page is submission. So what that means is that if I go here to the submission pages, so this is my default account page. So you saw the submissions page. It has a shortcode on it, which was created when we installed the plugin. And here you can see I am on my submissions page. So there is my user details, my registrations, payment history, any orders, no orders, downloads, billing address, shipping address. Oh, that's my password. Old password, new password, confirm password. And then that's to log out. So a nice little setup here. So you can access your user information. So that's the submissions page, but you can map a different page to that. So that's what the mapping the default pages was about. So we'll just quickly go back there. So yeah, default registration and default user account. So you can change it if you want to. So that's the mapping. Then privacy, configure the data privacy settings, which is important. And this basically means just deleting all the data. So if you do shut up shop, then all the RegistrationMagic tables in your WordPress database will be removed. Front-end publish shortcode will remain working as long as the RegistrationMagic is active. But of course, if you delete all the data, you have to set up everything again. Some advanced options. We can enable the Stripe library. And we can also have sessions management, and in this case, they're managed by a database. Right. Then we have the user layout area. Now we looked at the user page. So this is the user layout area. So here you'll see inbox, enable the tab, the personal details, enable the tab. So this is just, what do you want to have available or not available in the user database. It's not really about a layout in terms of this on the left and that on the right. So it's really just about the tabs and moving them up and down. Then here's the customize the user tab layout. So you can add new tabs. So you can add a new tab here. Let's just say new tab. And you can write something. You can add whatever you want in there. And you can change the icon. Let's save that. And let's just have a look at we still have this open. What do we get? And you'll see that the tab is here. We didn't assign an icon, so we just need to assign the icon and that'll pop in there. So edit, and you do have to add an icon. So let's just add an icon. There we go. Let's add that icon. Save. Where were we? Here. Refresh, and now you'll see that icon is available and the page information. So nice and quick and easy to customize that user area tab. Let's just go back to the options page, to the global settings. Right. Then here we have integration with Profile Grid, which, as I said, is that like online community management. It's a separate plugin with just as many features, also from MetaGas. We're not going to go into that straight away. Then we have this WooCommerce integration. And so that would be setting the default registration form. So we set it to a form that we've created, or we go with the default from WooCommerce, as we had a look at before. And we can show cart with magic pop-up, which is what we saw earlier. And you can enable role assignment. So that's enabled to assign custom role defined inside the dashboard, or else it'll just go with the custom WooCommerce role. So generally just leave that for custom WooCommerce. And then lead magic, that was to create that pop-up form. So wow, a comprehensive, a massive collection of settings, and we're still not done, because in terms of settings, so we looked at reports. Over here, we even have products. So you can even create your own product that people can purchase from your form. So not a shop in the sense of WooCommerce, but the option to make a purchase from your form. So that would be a case of adding a new product. So let's say it's you could have multi-select, so different products. You can have something that's user-defined. So users could provide their own products. So I'm just going to go here with something fixed and say new product and the price 100, display the price, and allow users to specify quantity and save. So there we've created our product. Right. Then, now what you can do is you can enable, now users will be able to purchase this product. And if you want to, at some point in the future, you can always come back and edit it. So that's like making a form for purchasing. Now that you've created this product, maybe you want to add it to your form, then you would head back to your form. Now, we haven't set up the payments and how all of that's going to work. So maybe this contact form, we'll head over to fields and we'll add field, and we just look for add product. And when we do the add product, you'll see there is the new product. So buy me. You can set the icons once again for this product in the form. pretty standard. And then you have some advanced settings here. And we'll just add that to the form. So now we've added that to our contact form. We now have this product. Now we haven't added any payment methods or anything like that. So to test this, I'll just show you quickly. I'll head back to all forms. I'm going to now copy that short code, head over to pages. What I'll do is I'll just add a new page, and I'm going to add that short code to the contact form. So by me, let's add a short code, punch that in, publish our page, head over to the website, and we're pretty much done. That's how quick it is to then add a product. So we're just waiting for this publishing, which is taking longer than usual. But there, it's done. We'll view the page, and you'll see here now that I can now make a purchase. And if I had the payment integrated, then I would then have to, then I'd be redirected to make the payment, of course, and then it would work as a normal payment. So that's how quick and easy you can set up a payment system or a product inside RegistrationMagic. So that was products. Right, user roles. If you want to make a new user role, it couldn't be easier. You're going to do that inside RegistrationMagic. So we just click here, waiting for this to load up, and you'll see, so we can say make a new role, but this is the role key. So we don't want, so make a new role. We don't want, I'm going to paste that in here, because in the role key, you'll see that it generally should just be underscore. So make a new underscore role. So you can make them whatever you want. Inherit the permission. So straight away, let's inherit from the shop manager. Is there a sign up charge? Yes or no? And if there is, what is the charge? And we hit save. And then you'll see at the bottom here, you have all your roles. And you'll see make new role. That's the one that we created. And you can access your new role at the bottom. And then you can also add a default form for that role. So if I wanted to make a new form for this particular role, I can then head over here and no, I don't want to add a default form. Looks like add default form, make a new role. No, that's not working. That should actually add a default form, and it's not adding a default form for this role, unless it's because we don't have a form defined for this role. That could be why the form isn't being displayed. So yeah, maybe we need to add a few more forms. So right, that's just but you can make the user roles in here and base them on other roles. And over here it will tell you, what kind of role it is. So awesome. I didn't have a shop manager, now I have a shop manager. Or my make new role isn't here. This is getting confusing. So make role, and I'll save. And basically what happened here is we don't have a form available for this role, and that's why we can't select it. Right, that's just how that's working. Obviously, if you have more forms, that'll work. But it's quick. You can do it from here in 5 minutes, and you can assign a form to that role. You can also set up a user manager, or not set up, but you can manage your users here. And you also have these filters here, and you can filter by the different status, and you can activate or deactivate the user. So here we have the user manager. That'll take us back to the options page, which we don't want to do. And then here you can send out some bulk emails. So I'm going to send this bulk email. I can just send a subject, a message, and send it out. And it'll go to the recipients of the different forms that I have within the database. So that's one way to target people who have submitted a form. You can simply do that from here and send it out. Also, that will depend on your SMTP. So you want to make sure that it's set up depending on the number of emails you want to send out. Then you can create automations. So let's do it on the simple registration. So let's create a new task. So this just does things for you. So new task, the description, and then we go to next. So what is this automation going to do? So select users depending on their account state, say activated users, the age, submission older than, younger than, so you can target just the new ones. Then you've got field value rule, so select a field. If it has a specific value, then do, so it's like a condition. So it could be, let's see, well, maybe you have a field in there, so a specific website value or a demo video value. Probably have to look at creating a field for that to work. Could be your interests, for example. I'm interested in trees, and then it'll target you because of that. A payment processor, if there is a processor, so we won't do that. Payment status rule. Right, then we've got, so the payment status is maybe they have paid, so it's completed. So if they haven't paid, maybe you want to send them like an abandoned cart email to say, hey, you haven't, completed that purchase. What to do next? Is this also then based on user account activation? So if they've activated an account, do something. Nothing around user activation. And then what to do? Send an email, and this is the email to send. Yeah, that is what the automation is. So it automates some of the processes, and then based on the parameters, it'll do something. It doesn't have to send the email. It can also activate or deactivate accounts. So if a payment isn't received, deactivate it. If the payment is received, then activate the account, or even delete the account based on that particular automation. So something that you can think about and then have a look and see how to apply that in your registration system. There are also some field analytics, as we said before. At the moment, we don't have anything to look at. Then we have form analytics here. So there we can see the submission, how long it took to fill out the form, the contact form. We haven't had a submission, or there was one submission. Okay, one submission. And similar stats. The attachments sent in by people, if you need to look at them. Then we have a custom status. So the custom status then, no, I'm not sure. This could be pending, waiting, updating, label properties, and then the associated actions, email to user, email to admin. Okay, so not something that I've used before, but you can then set a custom status. So when somebody submits a form, maybe you have a custom status set. So maybe it would be something that goes to support, and you would have a custom status based on that submission as well. So not a help desk, but just a custom status because it was sent maybe to a specific department. Yeah, so that's pretty much what's available then in the premium version of RegistrationMagic. Just also then, as a last thing, then you have an overview page. So here you can see 2 forms, 1 submission, 2 users, total user roles. There are 8 submissions today, trending forms, the latest submissions, user registrations, logins, submissions counters. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard to ignore the fact that this is a comprehensive offering when it comes to managing the users on your website. And you can even see here, if you want to export a form, you can really just select the form, click on submissions, and it's done. If you want to import this into another website, you can click on form and then copy across to another website and import. So that's also fantastic. And if we just click on this CSV form, Microsoft, of course, won't open it as a CSV, but you get the idea here. You've got submission ID, submissions, unique tokens, browser, first name, last name, phone, email, website, username, and there's all the information associated. So, yeah, I think picked up Opera was the browser. Yeah, so I think a comprehensive offering. And what's also great about the MetaGuss offering is the pricing. So if you go along to the MetaGuss website, let's go to RegistrationMagic. Then I'm logged in at the moment, but if you look at the pricing, you'll see that you can get a premium unlimited sites for $169, and that's unlimited forms and a lifetime of updates and support. So for 1 year, you can do that for $89, but for $169, you can get it for everything. So, the free version is there, that's great, but it is a bit limiting. I would definitely go for the lifetime of updates and support. Then it's a once-off purchase and you're done, and you can use it on several websites. So that would be my recommendation. So yeah, well, that's the as quickly as possible introduction to the premium version of RegistrationMagic. It's a great plugin. It works, does what it says on the box. Yeah, so I hope you found that interesting and helpful. Go for it. There is a link below the video if you want to make a purchase. So up to you, but highly recommend. Thank you for watching.